Is that your new intro song?
Yeah.
A lot of people have been asking about the recorder. Was that you playing that recorder that one time?
That's me. Obviously, I haven't practiced much, but...
All right. We'll do a real quick recap.
Oh, wow. Get right into it.
On less than 5 minutes.
I didn't do my notes.
You did a race last weekend, right?
Let me start my timer here. If I only have 5 minutes here, that's going to be tough. I did a race. Oregon 70.3. Sells out in like 2 seconds. Great race. Now I get why. Great swim. One for the weaker swimmers like myself. I think the current at times they said was 12.5 miles an hour. So perfect. Perfect for me. Great. Really showed my swim improvements. I'm down to 17 minutes for the swim now. Perfect. Bike course, amazing. Really nice farm course. Reminded me of back home, Essex County, riding out on the farm roads. A little bit hilly. Not super great pavement, but also not bad pavement. It was just like a good course. Some good scenery, some flower fields, some vineyards. And then the run course, I believe, according to the plaques around the race, was the second best run course on the circuit.
No, the best.
Was it the best?
Yeah,
it was voted the best run experience.
Yeah.
And I would say it's a pretty darn good course. Yeah, it was like a nature preserve and a big like a lollipop. 2 loops of the.
We want to hear about your race, not the course.
2 loops of the thing, and then back down the lollipop.
Boring. All right.
So, I mean, I'm only 1 minute and 25 seconds into my interview. I still got 3.5 minutes to work with here. So I was going to give you a little course description. So great course. If you're thinking about trying to get on the internet and sign up within 3 minutes of it opening and get into it, then it's a great thing to try to get into because it is a really good race. Ended up being non-wetsuit though. That kind of sucked. I really was hoping to break 17. And I think I would have if I could wear my wetsuit, but oh well. So yeah, preparations went well. I did 3 weeks up. After Mont Tremblant, literally we didn't do the race. We tapered for the race, and then the race got canceled morning of the race, and that was a real bummer because it was so smoky. You literally couldn't even really train. That day, and I was going to do a full big workout that Sunday in Mont Tremblant. And they closed the pool because it was so smoky. So it was like I couldn't do any training.
You're talking about the wrong race.
And so Oregon starts though in Mont Tremblant. All right.
Okay.
So just bear with me here. I'm only 2.5 minutes into my interview. You guys keep interrupting me. All right. Quiet. All right. So it started. The block started that Monday, where I breathed in a massive amount of ash and began with an 8-mile run and a 1-hour bike and a swim in Mont Tremblant. And then traveled home on the Tuesday, and then got right back into the pool, did a short bike and a short run, and then I did big volume for 3 straight weeks. And I knew it was a bit risky doing 3 weeks, because just from experience, I tend to deteriorate greatly on the 3rd week. And this time I did make it through all 3, but I think it probably may have been a bit much. I don't think I would do it again. I think I would stick to 2 weeks up, 1 week down. So anyways, volume-wise for the 3 weeks, which my competitors will think, oh wow, that's a normal training week. But for me, it was like double the training volume I'd been doing. And the volumes came in at about 25,000 yards of swimming, 13-ish hours on the bike, and 72 miles running each week. And then that brought me to 1 week out from Oregon. And then I was pretty beat up. We did a really big session with Sam Long, which was a 16.8K main set in the run that final Sunday, 1 week before the race. I was pretty destroyed for that one. I probably pushed it a bit too far. But so anyways, took a 6-day taper. I needed a full taper. So I think that's the beauty of doing like up, down, is if you're going to go down, if you're going to do a down week, then you might as well do a race, right? So I did Oregon, and it worked out perfectly. And so I came around, unlike St. George, when I was eating like a bag of shit and didn't come around after a taper. This time, by Friday, So 5 days into the taper, I was firing on all cylinders, and I was excited to race, and I was powerful, and I knew that I was going to have good legs. And, you know, that's how it had always been, at least early on in my career. When I trained big volume, then I would do a fairly steep taper. By that I mean I would still keep the volume decently high the first half of the taper week, and then I would just fall off a cliff the final 3 days into the race, and I would feel like $1,000,000. So anyways, that was the taper. It all went good. Trip was smooth to Oregon. Levi traveled great. He's getting really used to it. Didn't have any outbursts or anything. He just basically went to sleep on Aaron, and you know, not too bad to travel. 6 hours travel each way. And yeah, so it was all good. Oregon was a cool place. Salem was a really nice town. Got a couple of sessions out on the course. And then race morning came around. We found out at the transition that it would be non-wetsuit, whatever. You know, I actually think I probably don't swim better, but I like the range of motion I get of a non-wetsuit swim. I would obviously always choose a wetsuit as a weak swimmer, but I actually feel more confident for non-wetsuit swims due to my impaired range of motion to begin with. And then you put a wetsuit on, it's impaired even more. I knew that the race would be settled, the swim anyway, would be settled in the first couple 100 meters. With a current that strong, it's basically like however fast you can take it out for 200 meters, that's it, and it's settled. That's where you're going to be the rest of the swim. This is impossible to break away when the current is at times 12.5 miles an hour, you know. It's actually a little bit scary. 12.5 mile current, man. Like when you go into it, it's crazy. It's like rapids. It was so crazy at points. So I came out of the water. I think my deficit was like 1.5 minutes. You know, that's obviously amazing to Mark Dubrick. Like, he's probably one of the best swimmers in the game. So, you know, I'm not going to kid myself that I would actually be down to him only 1.5 minutes in a normal 70.3. But in this particular one, that was the deficit. And then I went to work on the bike. I had goals I had set for myself on the bike. I wanted to do 15 minutes at 400, 15 minutes at 380, and then 70 minutes at 360. Those were my goals. And I achieved those goals. I actually felt so good I had to hold myself back, and I did. And so, yeah, I got into second quick. Took a bit longer to get to first, but eventually I did right around the halfway point. And it was Martin Ulloa, who I actually have raced a few times. I didn't recognize him out there on the course on this day, but after we got onto the run, I did realize that's who it was. And yeah, really impressed with how well he rode and how well he ran. And so yeah, the bike was fairly uneventful. Once it got to the lead, we traded off a couple times. Kept the pace decently high. I knew Trevor was back there trying to bridge the gap too. So, you know, admittedly he'd been running really well in practice, so I wasn't really interested in coming off the bike with him and going toe to toe. So made sure to try and keep the gap at least a little bit. And then out onto the run, Martin and I, he actually took it out really hard. Like I want to say maybe 5-10 miles, almost 5-10 mile for the first mile, which I'm not really a super fast starter. I usually start pretty slow. And I wouldn't say I was ever like worrying. I was excited to be in a battle. I felt strong. I felt really strong actually, and so I was excited for a battle. And we ran side by side for about maybe 2.5 miles. And then to be honest with you, I don't even know what happened to him. I think he stopped at like a porta-john or something, and that was the end of the battle. So then I was in the lead, and I had set a goal for myself on the run to run 5:20 per mile for the first 9 miles. And I had actually set in Mont Tremblant the goal to do 8 miles at 5:20. And so then I asked Aaron, well, you know, let's just assume I could have hit that goal in Tremblant. What is the next progression? And so 9 miles was what we decided on. And so then that's what I did. I did it straight. I thought maybe I'd have to break it up a bit, but I just was able to do it straight. And yeah, and so then I was able to get a victory. It's been a while since I had a victory, but admittedly, I realized and thought to myself while I was out there, you know, to be honest with you, the victory, whatever, it's more about now for me, I have something to prove to myself. We don't even have anything to prove to anybody. I don't care to prove anything to anybody. I want to prove to myself what I'm capable of. And so I realized that while I was out there, when I felt like similar to how I used to feel. I used to ride the bike insanely hard, like with no reservation whatsoever, no fear. I'm talking 500 watts. If that's what it takes, I couldn't care less. And then I still ran well off of it too, and that kind of was my claim to fame. And somewhere along the lines, whether it was from training or whatever, I lost that and I stopped doing that. And so I felt, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I felt like I had moved in the right direction. And so that was really the victory for me, because I just want to prove to myself that what I can do, because I know I'm capable of a lot more than I have done so far. And so now I think I have the tools to do it. And Oregon 70.3 for me feels like it was the beginning of my rebirth in triathlon, where I'm not overcomplicating things, where I'm sticking to the basics, and where I'm just training really hard and racing even harder. And so that was the Oregon 70.3, and I was able to tell you about it in 10 minutes and 50 seconds with a few sidebars.
Hey, real quick too, before we go, you're looking a little heavier. You putting on some weight? Why are you getting bigger now? You got pretty small there for a second.
I'm trying to bulk up. I'm trying to train 25 to 28 hours a week and gain weight at the same time, and it is posing to be pretty well impossible. I'm talking, I've been like logging my cows every day and striving to eat 7,000 to 8,000 a day, and I still can't gain weight. So admittedly, though, I have put on maybe 2-3 pounds, but once I started training 25 to 28 hours, I've now plateaued and actually am struggling to like keep I usually am weighing 163 to 164 now. So why? When I raced really well, I'm a power athlete. I'm a power-based athlete. Like, I'm not a finesse athlete. I'm a power athlete. This is the part about not overcomplicating it. I actually went down a bad pathway after Kona 2017 when Lang outran me by like 12 minutes or something like that. And I started to go down that pathway of, oh, maybe I need to lose some weight. But the reality is I'm not a finesse athlete. Like, I'm a power. I need the muscle. I need to be powerful. I need to push mind-boggling amounts of power. That's how I perform. That's who I am. And so now I'm not overcomplicating that. And now I'm actually striving to get some of that muscle back so that I can have more power, both on across all three, quite honestly. More power in the swim, more power in the bike, more power in the run. And that was a lifetime best power in Oregon. I didn't have great speed, but I had great power. And that's a good problem to have, because you can fix the speed component. If you don't have great power, there's not much you can do about that. So I'm excited for the future. This season, I think I'm going to come into form at 70.3 Worlds decently well. But I have my mind set on, now that I'm not overcomplicating this and doing it properly and doing it, it's very simple. It's very simple. Volume, quite a bit of volume, as much as you can handle. Still an adequate amount of intensity at the right intensity. And by that I mean the intensity to win inside of that volume. And listen to your body. That's it. There's nothing else to think about. That is the secret to training. And that's all I'm going to do. And I know that I'm going to get a lot better. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm proud of this one. I feel like I trained for this one. I actually trained hard for this one.
What is that?
70.3 Worlds coin 2024, baby. See you there, New Zealand. I can't wait. I'm already looking at flights, but they don't let you book flights. Like, how many months is that? Like 18 months in advance. So
let's see the back.
I can't get the price yet, but it's going to be expensive. I know that.
Last time you went in that neck of the woods, you weren't too happy leaving.
I wasn't too happy about it. No, I wasn't. But I've been playing the game a long time now. I know what I'm getting into now. Finland will be bad, actually. Finland will be 70.3 World 2016 again. But I know what I'm getting into this time.